All right, let's dive into one of the most famous texts in the world, but probably not in the way you've ever thought about it before. We're going to forget the gentle poem and instead see it as a blueprint for survival.
So when you hear the words of Psalm 23, where does your mind go? Yeah, for most of us, it's right here. We hear these words at funerals, right? We connect them with endings, with loss, as this sort of final comfort at the very end of a life. But what if that core association, that deep-seated connection to death, is completely wrong? I mean, what if this text was never, ever intended for the dead, but was actually a powerful, active guide for the living?
And that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to radically reframe Psalm 23. We're taking it out of the gentle, comforting poem category and putting it right back where its author meant it to be, as an active, strategic blueprint for survival and supply, right in the middle of life's biggest battles.
To really get this blueprint, you first have to understand the architect and the context of who wrote this. And when they wrote it, well, it changes absolutely everything. The person who wrote this was King David. But listen, he wasn't sitting in a peaceful retirement home just reflecting on his life. No way. He wrote this right in the thick of it all. He was a warrior on the battlefield, a leader of a nation, making these high-stakes, life-or-death decisions every single day.
So, you see, that's the crucial point. This is not some passive reflection on a life that's already been lived. It's an active, in-the-moment strategic declaration from a commander in the field. It's a strategy for living, not a eulogy for the dead.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. A single, profoundly misunderstood word in the second line completely unlocks the first part of this entire map.
You know the line? I know the line. We all know it. I shall not want. But our modern idea of that one little word, want, has basically hidden its true power from us for centuries.
We read want, and we immediately think of desire, right? Of wishing for something. But what if the original author, a leader in the middle of a battle, meant something way more powerful and immediate than that? And this is where the original language just blows the whole thing wide open. The Hebrew word used here is Echsar, and Echsar has absolutely nothing to do with desire. It means to decrease, to lack, to be diminished, to fail, or to be made less. It's all about scarcity.
So the declaration isn't, I won't have any desires. It's a statement of how the world really works, like a law of spiritual physics. It's saying, because of my guide, I cannot be diminished. I will not fail. I will not be made less. It's this profound statement that lack and scarcity do not get the final say in your life.
So let's move to the next part of this blueprint and see how this all builds. Because if you aren't supposed to lack, then where does your provision actually come from? Well, the map tells us exactly where to find that X.
First off, we've got to understand the shepherd's role correctly. We tend to picture this passive protector, just kind of watching over the sheep. But in this blueprint, the shepherd is an active navigator, a guide who has a very specific destination in mind.
So when the text says the shepherd leads you to green pastures, it's not just some nice, fluffy metaphor for a heavenly paradise. In the dry, arid, ancient Near East, grass was not everywhere. A green pasture was a real, specific, designated location of supply and survival. It was a literal place.
And this idea just flips our modern concept of hustle and grind completely on its head. The blueprint is saying the goal isn't to frantically chase after resources or money or opportunities. The goal is to follow the navigator to the place where your supply is already waiting for you.
So the blueprint lays out this incredibly simple process. Maybe not an easy one, but simple. Step 1, stop the frantic chase. Step 2, tune in and listen to the navigator's guidance. And step 3, arrive at your assigned place of provision. It's all about direction, not desperation.
Now, all of this, the real meaning of want, the active navigator, the assigned provision, it's all leading up to one master key. This is the single most important principle that makes the entire blueprint actually work.
So, after all this, what is the ultimate secret? What's the one thing that unlocks this entire system of provision and survival? Here it is. The master principle is that alignment must come before abundance. You have to be in the right place, following the right path, in alignment with your navigator before the supply can even show up. The location comes first.
And this right here is the key takeaway for all of us. It triggers this fundamental shift in how we approach our needs. It moves us away from this posture of begging for resources, for money, for a job, for a lucky break, to a posture of asking for clear navigation. The most powerful request isn't for the stuff, it's for the directions. So here's the question this ancient map leaves us with, right here and right now. In your career, in your relationships, in your life, are you still begging for resources, or are you ready to ask for the map that leads you to where they already are?
You've probably heard the 23rd Psalm 1,000 times, right? It's often seen as this beautiful piece of spiritual comfort. But what if it's more than that? What if it's actually a practical blueprint, a step-by-step guide for building the capacity for real, lasting wealth? Today, we're going to look at this ancient text in a totally new light.
So, right off the bat, let's get one thing straight. This isn't about asking for a bigger house or a nicer car. The whole idea here is that you first have to build the internal structure, the vessel, if you will, that can actually contain abundance. I mean, without the right container, any blessing, any wealth, it just leaks right through your fingers.
So, how do we even begin to build this vessel? Well, the psalm gives us the first step. Stage 1 is all about getting to still waters. This is the absolute foundation. You can think of it as creating a stable inner climate. And it's so important to understand what still waters really means. This isn't about being lazy or doing nothing. It's a physiological thing. It's about getting your nervous system regulated. You know that feeling of being calm, centered, and not just totally thrown off by every little thing that happens? That's it. That's true internal stability. And this, right here, this is why it matters so much. Just look at the difference. A scattered soul. When you're anxious and all over the place, you leak provision. And how do you do that? You make impulsive decisions. You react based on fear. But a regulated spirit, that can actually hold on to the good things that come your way because you're making wise choices and measured responses. You just can't fill a leaky bucket, you know? Okay, so once we've got that stable inner climate, then and only then can we move on to stage 2, soul restoration. And pay close attention to that subtitle, the prerequisite for overflow. This step isn't just a good idea, its timing is absolutely crucial. To really get this, let's borrow a concept from Kabbalah called Shafah. The best way to think about Shafah is as a constant, divine flow of abundance that is always, always available. It's like the universe is constantly broadcasting this signal of provision. The real question isn't whether the signal is out there, it is. The question is, are you tuned in? Is your vessel ready to receive it? And this is where you can see the absolute genius of how this psalm is structured. Check out the sequence. It doesn't say my cup runs over and then my soul gets restored. No way. It's the other way around. Step 1 is he restores my soul. Only after that happens can step 2, my cup runs over, even be possible. So here's the bottom line. Restoration has to come before overflow. You have to fix the cracks in the container before you can fill it up. Trying to get to that overflowing state without first doing the deep work of restoration, it's like trying to build a skyscraper on a cracked foundation. It's just never gonna hold. Okay, so our vessel is stable, it's been repaired. Now we're ready for stage 3, guided strategy. The psalm calls this walking the paths of righteousness. But let's look at this in a super practical, strategic way. Paths of righteousness isn't some big, mystical, one-time event. It's not a miracle that just happens to you. It's a strategy. It's about consistently making the right decisions, the aligned choices, over and over again, day after day. This is where wisdom and discipline really come into the picture. And hey, this idea is backed up all over the place. Proverbs puts it perfectly. This kind of blessing brings wealth without all that painful toil. You know that feeling of grinding and struggling and forcing things? That's what happens when you're out of alignment. But when your vessel is ready and you're on the right path, that divine flow, that shefa, it comes without all that exhausting effort. It's about alignment, not just hustle. So let's recap. We've followed the blueprint. Our inner container is stable. Thanks to the still waters, it's been restored.
And now, we're aligned, walking a guided path. It feels like we should be at the finish line, right? Ready for the big payoff? So, what's next? And this is the twist that changes everything. All that preparation, it wasn't just to get a reward, it was to prepare you for a test. Now we get to the part most people try to skip at all costs, the valley. But when you look at it this way, the valley isn't some kind of punishment. It's the final phase of construction. It's the tunnel where your real capacity is actually forged. Which leaves us with a huge question to think about. What if the valley isn't an obstacle to abundance, but the very thing that makes it possible?
If you're out there building something, a business, a creative project, a career, you know the feeling. You hit a wall. And it can really feel like you're failing, can it? But what if that struggle is actually the most important part of the whole process? We're going to reframe that entire experience, looking at it not as a problem, but as the necessary path to growth and ultimately to overflow. Let's start right here with this core idea. If you feel like you are in that valley right now, that low point with all the pressure and uncertainty, listen to me. It's not a sign that you've been left behind. It's a sign that your capacity, your resilience, and your future are being stretched and grown. You're not being abandoned. You are being expanded. So the source material for this draws on that famous line from Psalm 23, and it makes this huge distinction. The valley isn't a place you live. It's not your permanent address. It is a pathway, a corridor that you move through to get to the other side. You know, just understanding that one thing, it changes everything.
Okay, now let's break down one key word here, shadow. The definition is so simple, right? It's just a dark area that happens when something blocks the light. It's almost elementary school science. But what this simple fact implies, well, that's incredibly profound.
Think about it. For a shadow to even exist, there has to be a source of light. You can't have one without the other. So if you're going through the shadow of death, that is, by definition, proof that a powerful light source is active somewhere nearby. The challenge itself is actually evidence that you are not in total darkness.
And the scripture itself makes this explicit. It doesn't say, hey, I'll meet you on the other side. It says, you are with me right here in the valley. That light we were just talking about isn't some distant star. It's a guiding presence that's right there with you, accompanying you through the most difficult part of the passage. So let's visualize this valley as a tunnel. At first, you enter, and the walls feel close. The light is dim. Then you hit the middle, and this is the hardest part. It's dark, the pressure builds, and your own doubts seem to echo all around you. But this isn't the end. The final stage is the exit, where the tunnel starts to widen, you see that glow of dawn, and then you step out into a wide open field.
This brings us to a crucial distinction. Tunnels are not tombs. Tunnels are designed for passage. They have an entrance and they have an exit. Tombs, on the other hand, are designed to be final. The valley you might be in right now, it's a tunnel, not a tomb. It's a temporary journey with a destination waiting on the other side.
So what's the purpose of that difficult middle section? That pressure, that uncertainty, it is not for nothing. It's a forge. It's where the strength, the wisdom, and the capacity you'll need for that open field are actually created. Without the pressure of the tunnel, you wouldn't be ready for what's next.
And this idea builds when we look at the rod and staff. A lot of people hear those words and think of punishment or correction. But the source reframes this completely. The rod was a tool of defense and governance. The staff was for guidance and rescue. So together, they represent protection and leadership while you're in the tunnel building that capacity. They aren't tools to beat you down. They are tools to keep you safe.
Now, after the tunnel, you don't just emerge into an empty field. You arrive here, at a prepared table, a place of provision and honor. And notice where this table is set, right in the middle of your opposition. This is not a secret, hidden meal, it's a public declaration. This kind of provision has three really powerful characteristics. It's not hidden away in a corner, it's right out in the open. It's not fragile, ready to collapse at the first sign of trouble, and crucially, it is not dependent on your enemies, your critics, or even your friends approving of you. It just stands on its own.
The source material also talks about this protection as being active, and administered, sometimes through what it calls unseen help. It's this idea that your provision is being managed and protected, even in ways you can't always see.
So what happens when you have more than enough? Know when your cup runs over. The common view is that this is all excess for personal indulgence, for luxury, but the source gives us a different meaning. This overflow is excess for your assignment. It's the resource you need to fulfill a larger purpose, to become a source of provision for others. So how do you make this real? Well, the source suggests a really simple practice. First, read Psalm 23 just as you normally would. Then read it again, but this time in the present tense as an active declaration. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not decrease. When you get to the valley line, pause and just state, this is a tunnel. Light is present. And finally, you conclude with this intention, make me a channel of provision, wisdom, and generosity. So, as we wrap this up, here's a question for you to reflect on. Looking at these different stages, the peaceful pastures, the still waters, the valley tunnel, the prepared table, or that state of overflow, where are you right now on this journey? Because recognizing your location is the first step to understanding what's being built in you right now.